what is going on? This is Substitute Shane, and welcome to Mr. Cap's YouTube channel.
Hey there, eighth grade. Today we're going to try and just finish the notes for the Great Depression. You're, I'm gonna give you guys like a 10-question quiz, something easy like that, kind of like a Google form as another grade. But your grade for this chapter is gonna be the role-playing letter. We're gonna start World War II. Um, Tomorrow's Thursday. I'll probably start World War II notes maybe Friday. If not, I'll start them on Monday. But what I want you guys to do is work on that role-playing letter, and then yeah, just keep up with the notes. For World War II is gonna be a bigger chapter. We're gonna try to split it. I'm gonna give you guys a project. I have a couple different options for that. Again, we're kind of limited. It's probably gonna be a PowerPoint, obviously. Maybe give you the option for another role playing type thing, but for now, I have like a battle project that you guys can do. So the other day we talked about the alphabet soup programs. Okay, I just give you a couple of them. You guys have watched a couple of videos. You've done a couple of worksheets on some more. We talked about the SEC beginning to monitor what's going on Wall Street. All right. We talked about Social Security, which is still around today. People are critical of it, but it happens, so get over it. All right, court packing. Again, we haven't talked about it too much, but a lot of the programs that FDR put in place were controversial, and the only reason they were passed was because it was wartime. I don't want to say wartime because it wasn't a war yet, but it was a crisis. Okay, and as the years went on, in the 1930s, a lot of those programs ended up getting repealed, and Constitution deemed them unconstitutional. One thing that was very controversial was court packing or attempting to court pack. So let me read this slide, and then we'll go over it. Okay. So the Supreme Court can rule laws of Congress unconstitutional. Okay, this threatens a New Deal because again, he's losing some of these alphabet soup programs because they're deeming it unconstitutional. It's giving too much power to the federal government. They're controlling prices. They're controlling wages. Okay, again, the idea is to try to boost the economy and get people jobs, but the fear is it's giving too much power to the federal government. Right, so FDR tries to add 6 judges who agreed with him, who would vote in favor of these programs and not vote against them. So majority would vote in his favor. Okay, the law doesn't pass, and this hurts FDR's image. Now, just to go a little more into what he planned was if a judge hit, well, he wanted to increase the amount of judges, but also if a judge hit the age of 70 years old and they didn't retire, the government could then, being the president, could then remove them from their office of Supreme Court. I don't want to say office of Supreme Court, from their seat in the Supreme Court. This wasn't unconstitutional necessarily to do that because it's in the Constitution that you can, but a Supreme Court justice, their term is for life. So when they're picked and when they're passed by Congress, they can be a sitting Supreme Court justice for the rest of their life or until they retire. What FDR wanted to do is kind of force them out of 70 so that he can push in some of his own yes men. Okay, this doesn't work. It doesn't look good. It makes him look bad. So this is like again a negative view of FDR. With the passage of time, we as a country kind of realize FDR's faults more so than the people did back then. And there's personal faults, which we will kind of talk about at one point, but also just like the way he operated. There's a debate on is the New Deal good? Is the New Deal bad? Was it kind of leaning towards like socialism or was it necessary? If you talk to people from the time period, those who are still alive, they like adore FDR. Okay, because he kind of led them through the Great Depression, and they led them to World War II, which are two of like the most trying times in American history. So the example I give is my great aunt, who is like 96 years old. She is like a lifelong Democrat because of FDR. Okay, even though she doesn't agree necessarily with every policy of Democrats, she can't change parties because of her love for FDR. So people adore him at the time. So that's important. That's why he's able to win uh, the election. Again, he's president not just for 2 terms, guys, and we're going to go more into that. And the reason why he was able to run for more than 2 terms is there wasn't a law in place at that point to restrict it, but also because people wanted him. It was a trying time, and he was a good leader, so they keep him. Okay, so we'll get more into that. there's no point of talking about that yet because a lot of that happens during the war. Okay? All right. So moving on, effects of the depression. There's a fear of losing money and property. Okay? This made money the most important thing. This is why this New Deal is trying to pump money into the government. Just kind of like keep you guys updated if you're not paying attention to the news. Just today, or like last night, well, I guess today, early morning, the government approved I think it was like 2 trillion or 6 trillion, I forget, relief package between Trump and Congress. Both agreed upon it. I think they're like working out the wording, and it should get passed. And what it's going to do is it's going to pump money into big business. It's going to pump money into people's bank accounts. So what's going to happen is I think families get, I think couples get $2,400, and then for every child they have, they get an extra $500. Individual people who make under $99,000 would be getting, I think, a $1,200 check. And what they want people to do with that check is if they lost their job or if they're currently not working because of what's going on, not getting paid, they use that money for essentials. If you're someone who still has a job and you're getting this $1,200 check, they want you to use it to buy consumer goods. So use it to keep small businesses running. Okay, buy food from a small business, go pick it up. That's kind of the idea. Okay, now back to the depression. It's important to know that the New Deal didn't end the depression. It helped for the interim, for the years, because again, it restores people's confidence. Okay, let me get my laser pointer. It restores people's confidence, but in the long run, there's a big debate as was it negative because of the debt it causes America? Because it is causing America debt because this costs money. These programs cost money. Yes, it's pumping money into the American people's pockets. It's giving them jobs, but the government has to pay for that. Just like this multi-trillion-dollar relief package that is being passed right now. That money, they don't print that money. They don't just print that money. When you print money, that leads to inflation. There has to be something that backs it. So the issue with the New Deal is it's going to cause a lot of debt for America. But when World War II starts, our economy kind of gets rolling. We start trading and we start manufacturing goods. We fill the factories with workers to manufacture war goods. So we're going to get into that when we talk about World War II. But World War II is definitely the end point of the Depression and the end of the New Deal, really. There are still some programs like Social Security that are around today. And again, it did good when you look at the infrastructure of the country, roads, bridges, buildings. A lot of famous buildings and roads and bridges were built during this time period by these programs, okay, workers from these programs. So there's a lot of good. There is a lot of criticism for, now say this, big government, okay? Did this give too much power to the presidency? Did this give too much power to the government where the people now rely on the federal government too much, okay? It's now, after the New Deal, it's an expectation that if it's a time of crisis, that the federal government is going to aid you. Prior to that, it wasn't really an expectation. Now it is. If you look just right now, okay, people are expecting the federal government to help them, and that's why this program, this relief program that just got passed today, I don't know, do that right now, that just got passed today, is going to be putting money in our pockets, okay? And it's kind of expected of the government to do that, okay? And it kind of like got tied up with some disagreements in Congress, and people were getting frustrated because obviously there's a huge pandemic going on, and they were disagreeing upon minute things that had nothing to do with people's well-being. So again, that got passed. That's good. And then again, kind of what I just mentioned before, the New Deal is going to cause American debt, and we're going to see that kind of get paid back. Again, currently we're trillions of dollars of debt, America as a country. But when you're looking at the New Deal, the controversy of it, was it good, was it bad? This is something that is brought up. Okay? All right, so kind of to continue with that, we're going to talk about the good or the bad. Okay, so quickly just go through this. You can pause this. You can look at this more in depth if you want to, but I'll just go through the good. I'll go through the bad real quick. Try to keep this under 10 minutes. We're over 10 minutes. Okay. Government has, so the good. Government has a duty to help all citizens. The New Deal helped the country through the worst days of the Depression. True. Okay. At a time when Europe turned to dictators to solve the Depression, the New Deal saved the nation's democratic system. Okay, which is also a good point. Now, on the reverse, bad. Government should not interfere in business and people's private lives. Uh, New Deal led to increases in national debt. The New Deal did not end the Great Depression. Okay. I have to pause because I'm getting a phone call. So pause. Okay, start. Um, again, so big debate. We'll talk more about this in the comments. And here it says debate. So liberal side favor government action to bring about reform. They are okay with that. The conservative side, though, they favor fewer government controls and freedom in economic matters, a more of a laissez-faire approach. Okay, and because of the New Deal, government is more involved in society than ever, and that is consistent going forward. Okay, this changes the way that government, I don't want to say interferes, because interferes kind of puts a negative way on it. It just changes the way that government involves itself in the economy and also people's lives. Okay, so we're gonna end there, and yeah.